Hi, this is Jay Hummel. Welcome to the deep dive, coming to your home or office, trying to help you provide insights and guests to help you grow your business more rapidly. We get a lot of M&A questions, not only just in the wealth space, the financial services space, but it seems like the PE money that's across the US today, number of deals that are happening. And so we've had a lot of requests to have someone who understands the overall M&A market in the US, and can't be more excited today to have the CEO of SDR Ventures, headquartered in Denver, Colorado, Geoff Eliason. Geoff, thanks for being here, man. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jay. It's great to be here.
So why don't you, and I love the background, man. A lot of deals have gotten done.
That's true.
Which is a lot in the last year and a lot this year. So,
Yep.
Tell the viewers a little bit about, Geoff Eliason and about SDR Ventures.
Sure. So I've got a pretty unique background that brings us here today, and I'm excited to share some of that history with the audience. I started in the financial industry with a startup company. My first day was January 1st, 2005, and it was a company that set out to introduce exchange-traded funds to the market beyond what iShares and State Street had been doing up to that point. And it was a company called PowerShares. Many of the listeners will recognize the QQQ, for example. At the time, PowerShares only had 2 ETFs, 50 million under management. I was the 8th hire, part of the original launch team, and a group of 15 of us launched 50 ETFs and ended up raising about $8 billion in just a few short years. And it was at that point that I was introduced to really my first M&A opportunity. And that was when Invesco, one of the largest mutual fund companies in the world, acquired an ETF company, PowerShares. And that was in 2007. So at that point, I went from working for a very small startup to a publicly traded company with Invesco. Well, at Invesco, PowerShares continue to have just exponential growth, launching 100 ETFs and going from about $7-8 billion under management to well north of 100 billion. And I stayed on at Invesco until 2013 and really had a desire to go back to what I enjoyed originally at PowerShares with that growth-oriented company. And so I acquired half of a RIA here in Colorado. We were both providing wealth management, but also asset management in the form of managed accounts or managed solutions using exchange-traded funds. And so, again, a very small group of us built that RIA and asset manager. We had wonderful growth over the course of 5-6 years. And then we were acquired by a prominent RIA and family office asset manager out of Boston about 3 years ago. And so I started to really understand how important M&A activity is, both for financial advisors, RIAs, but also our ability within an RIA to service business owner clients, particularly when we look today demographically with so many baby boomers looking to sell their business and this generational transfer of wealth occurring largely in real estate, land, and small businesses. And so that really experience brought me to taking an ownership stake in an investment bank here in Denver, SDR Ventures, and serving as the CEO. And our mission at SDR is to walk alongside financial advisors across the country that serve business owners and really incorporating the wealth management into the conversation as those clients aspire to sell their companies. SDR is an investment bank located in Denver, has been around for over 20 years, serving the lower and the middle market across all industries. We've provided sell side, buy side, capital formation, and capital cap raises across virtually all industries in those 20 years.
And what do you see in an exciting background, right? Which is how you and I met. Most investment bankers don't understand what RIAs do. They didn't grow up in asset management the way that you and many of your team members did, which is, how we got connected. When you think of what's going on in the M&A landscape today, we've done on the show a lot on the wealth side. So, as you think supporting RIAs, what's going on in the M&A market? Not necessarily just in wealth, but what are you seeing in the space? What's trading? Are people thinking about rolling up? What are you seeing?
Well, for RIAs, there has never been a better time to be talking to clients that own businesses about getting a valuation on their company and also considering selling their company, because it is truly a seller's market. But I want to emphasize it's a seller's market for the educated seller. And a lot of that education and thought leadership comes collectively from the financial advisor and also the investment bank. The demand has completely outstripped supply of these private companies. And what we're seeing is that family offices and private equity companies previously would not entertain buying companies under 100 million in enterprise value. They are now actively coming to us at SDR looking for companies that sell for 20 million, even 10 million in some cases. And these are the companies that make up this entire country: plumbing companies, dental offices, veterinary clinics, landscaping companies, professional services, transportation companies. And it's interesting, the demand that's occurred. Historically, you would see companies trade for 5x. We like to say that 7x is the new 5x.
7's the new 5, like 50's the new 30.
Exactly. Yeah, it's true.
It's totally true. And I think I get excited about, you and I talk a lot about, I think so many, especially in the independent space, advisors have woefully underserved the business owner, is because, they're looking for assets, right? Most of them charge for assets under management. And so the business owner has majority of their assets in their business. So they wait until Friday, as we've joked. You're in Denver, the Denver Business Courier comes out on Friday and there's all the deals listed, and then every advisor calls, right? And so, I think what you do, how do you think about how an RIA could plug into what SDR Ventures is doing and better serve a business owner?
Well, there's a couple ways. The first is through very traditional retirement and financial planning. And what has to happen between the financial advisor and the investment bank, namely SDR, is to get a valuation on that business owner's company once a year. But it's important to recognize that that valuation is not solely based on accounting or the financials. That valuation needs to be based on the market intelligence that can only be had through an investment bank like SDR. So looking at comps, looking at what the market is actually paying for that business. And then the wealth manager can work in coordination with SDR to really drive the business owner and their family's objectives forward. The second thing I want to point out is it is striking to us how many unsolicited offers business owners receive, in some cases on a weekly basis. And I want to encourage our audience to ask their business owner clients if they're receiving unsolicited offers and what they are.
Well, and you and I've talked before too, when an advisor plugs in, there's such a disconnect that you see from the business owner saying, well, $6 million seems like a lot of money, right? But having no understanding, right, unless the advisor's plugged into the process with you around whether $6 million helps them get to their goal or not. Right?
Yep.
And so maybe you just talk for a minute about kind of how you see, if an advisor called you, Geoff, and said, okay, how do I plug into SDR? Or I have a client or a prospect who really is interested in valuation or interested in some advice. How do you see that advisor and you working together?
Sure. So it's that initial outreach, and it's at the onset, just a discovery phase, understanding the business owner, their objectives, taking a look at the financials of the company, doing some market analysis. And then once that initial phase occurs, we want to begin to peel back the layers of the onion with the financial advisor. And that makes SDR really unique, Jay, because within investment banking, oftentimes the investment bank wants to close a deal and move on to the next deal. They do not want to slow things down at all. We, on the other hand, are advocates for that client, their family, and the legacy that they have after the sale of the business. And so we have to do a deep dive with the financial advisor and look at things like charitable giving, real estate, the objectives that the family has. We just worked on a deal with a financial advisor, and within the business itself, there was an ESOT, a donor advised fund, and the financial advisor had set out to rent the property specifically for the father's retirement of the business owner. And so there are so many nuances for us after that initial conversation to work with the financial advisor and understanding the needs and objectives of their client and do what's best for the client.
Well, what I love about it, you and I've talked about it before, and there's people that disagree with us. I think, especially outside the coasts, the businesses that are under 100 million are underbanked. They can't go to JP Morgan. They can't go to Goldman. We have all these great RIA independent wealth shops throughout the US, especially in the Midwest, who can serve such an underserved market, but they've never had access to a team like yours. How do they think about it? And if you were an advisor today, right, sitting here listening to this, or just a business owner, what are kind of 2 to 3 things that you think business owners need to think about in today's market to maximize the ultimate enterprise value of the business that they own?
Sure. So the first thing is we often say that a business owner needs to start thinking about selling the business 3 to 5 years before they actually sell the business. What's interesting about those 3 to 5 years, though, is that a lot of business owners actually are asked to stay on in the business, continuing to run and grow the business for 1 to 3 years. So the business owner has to actually recognize that they're preparing that company to sell for 3 to 5 years and then staying on perhaps another 1 to 3 years.
So it could be 6 to 8.
Could be 6 to 8 years. And a lot of business owners simply think, okay, a year out, I'm going to sell the business, and then I'm going to go buy a boat in the Caribbean and ride off into the sunset. That's just not how it works. So the business owner has to think about that timeline, and they, in coordination with their financial advisor, need to prepare accordingly. The second thing is they have got to focus on transferable wealth. Most businesses, particularly when you're dealing with the founder of a company, have been built around that founder. and they have got to focus on creating transferable wealth. And that means getting themselves out of the day-to-day inner workings of the business. Companies will not be sold if there is a concentration of clients or they hinge on that single owner. And then the next thing and last thing is get a market valuation from an investment bank. You may have a great relationship with your CPA, for example, but that CPA is looking at the value of the business only through the lens of the financials. The investment bank, like SDR, is going to value the business based on what the market's paying for it.
Well, and we've seen that a bunch, right? What we do every day, even just in the RA space, you could sit there and say, yeah, based on size, you're going to sell for 6 times, but you have a lot of strategic players in the space that are going to pay 8. So doing the math on the financials isn't enough.
And Jay, how many RIAs revolve around the founder of the RIA? The message is the same if you're trying to sell your practice.
100%. Well, Geoff, the last question I always ask is we always say stay on brand with the deep dive. It's the beneath the surface question. The one I've been asking everybody recently is we're getting close to summertime. What trip are you looking forward to this summer?
Oh, my goodness. So my wife, Lisa, and I have made a great practice of getting away, just husband and wife, no kids. And so in June, we're going to Napa. It's a personal favorite of ours. And we've got we always stay at the same place in Napa. We've got restaurants that we love going to. And of course, the wine tasting is second to none. So coming out of the backside of COVID, we are just excited and thrilled to have a little adult time.
That's awesome. Now, how do the viewers who want to potentially do business with SDR want to get in touch with you, want to talk more? What's the best way to reach you?
Sure. So email is definitely the best. Geoff is spelled with a G. So GELIASON at SDRventures.com. And of course, check us out on our website, SDRventures.com. We're excited to connect with the audience and drive one another forward.
Well, that's exciting, man. Well, thank you so much for being here. Obviously, Wealth Advisor Growth Network, Wagon, and AIK2 Insurance Services are sponsors of this podcast. I know we got some exciting announcements coming up in the next couple of weeks about some of the things we've been working on. And so can't thank you enough for making the time to come on.
Thank you, Jay, and thank you, Wagon.
Well, thank you for watching today. We look forward to the future episodes. We're going to be focused on where we are in the markets. We're going to be focused on alternative investing. We're going to be talking about marketing and how can you better get your brand out, not only in the RIA space, but general business owner space. And so can't thank you enough for watching. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.